Scary Northwest ghost stories, Monday at 9.
2003, Libby spoke to a senior White House official who advised Libby of a conversation Official A had earlier that week with columnist Robert Novak.
That's right, and the reason it's so interesting is because we know from several published reports that Karl Rove, the senior White House political advisor, deputy chief of staff, spoke with Mr. Novak on July 8th, which would be just a few days before July 11th. So that is quite interesting. Yet, Mr. Rove is, of course, not named, and Mr. Fitzgerald would not tell us who Official A was over the course of this. We heard earlier today from Mr. Rove's lawyer, Robert Luskin, that he believed that his client's status had not changed and the investigation was still continuing into his client. I got to say, it was hard to read from Mr. Fitzgerald's demeanor at the press conference whether he was sort of moving towards more indictments or if this investigation was essentially done. One other point, boy, Tom Hanks is going to play this guy in the movies. He is one straight arrow. He is a clear communicator, and he was, I think, very effective in pointing out why it was important to prosecute someone for obstruction of justice, perjury, and false statements, even though he was not indicting anyone for violating the laws dealing with revealing the identity of a covert agent or classified information.
Yeah, he was very adamant about saying this is all about national security. He said it's important that a CIA officer's identity be protected, that it be protected not just for the officer but for the nation's security. And if people in the course of that investigation into something that serious, if they lie about it, that is a very, very serious crime. I want to turn now to Stuart Taylor, the ABC from the National Journal's legal affairs editor, about some legal questions here. Stuart, now there are several possibilities that more information, more indictments could come out from a different grand jury, and we may learn more about who may have been involved in all of this in the course of the run-up to this trial.
That's right. Now, it sounded like Mr. Fitzgerald was discouraging speculation that he had something else that he was really actively investigating. But he's certainly open to the possibility that he may learn something through the trial, or perhaps through, it's possible there would be a plea bargain in a case like this with Mr. Libby, that he may learn something about others, perhaps Rove. Is Rove Official A? Everybody's asking themselves that question. And there are little hints here and there in the indictment that there may be contradictions between what Libby has said and what other people have said who may be under suspicion as having some involvement in the leak.
And Stuart, as this goes to trial, we're going to see then a parade of witnesses that will include not only reporters like Judith Miller and Matt Cooper and maybe Tim Russert, but also, is it possible CIA officers who may have been involved in some of the information given to the grand jury?
Possibly. The witnesses I'm sure you'll see would include the Vice President and everyone else who is alleged in this indictment, and there are quite a few, the Undersecretary of State, CIA briefers, who supposedly told Mr. Libby about Wilson's wife before he spoke to the reporters, because they're going to try to prove that Libby knew about Wilson's wife through official sources before he spoke to reporters, and so there will be a lot of witnesses beyond these reporters.
All right, just to recap real quickly, Patrick Fitzgerald has given a press conference outlining the case against Louis Libby, who was indicted today on 5 separate counts of perjury, obstruction of justice, and false statements that could carry up to 30 years in prison if he's convicted. This is not a conviction. This is a grand jury. It is an allegation. That's it from here. We will have much more on ABC News Radio throughout the day and on World News Tonight. I'm Bob Woodruff in New York.
For continuing coverage of this story, stay with ABC News, abcnews.com, and ABC News Radio. This has been a special report from ABC News.
This is ABC.